Okay, hi everyone. I'm the nostalgic Matthew video nerd gamer. I'm ready to do another review. Now, you might have noticed that my presentation is a little bit less. I mean, it's not very noticeable. You know, I'm trained at being an actor, but this might come off a little bit different from usual. That's because I have just totally gone insane and cut myself in multiple places in such ways that I'm now sterile. Kind of reminds me of Origin, but he was a heretic, so that's not really good. You probably don't know that story, but in case you're not a fanatic Catholic, he castrated himself. Fanatic religious guy. A little bit too fanatic, maybe, but maybe not though. But I'm not sure if I'm capable of judging things properly right now because I'm a little bit dizzy. But there are a couple of things I'm sure about though. I was wrong about Obama. I mean, we've got a universal healthcare plan now, which means that everybody will have good healthcare whether they like it or not. And people who are irresponsible will just have it paid for by people who are responsible. They will just have to pay for people who were too stupid to get insurance. And now all of a sudden hospitals can be forced to abandon their morals and are all stain-toned like in a communist nation. Catholics can be forced to distribute condoms. Isn't that wonderful? I mean, that doesn't violate secularism. I mean, it's the state infringing upon the church, and it's not like the state and church have to both ways, not interfere, but okay, that was lazy, but again, not entirely. God, I hope this doesn't turn out like another Melvin brother of the Joker. Hi everyone, since I've been very busy also playing Rome Total War, I thought I'd take an old semi-OCD script, add some flexible touches to it, and inject it with more Protestant hate. It sounds kind of like a Frankenstein version of a review, something that doesn't have a mind of its own and is lazily constructed. And isn't that just the perfect lazy segue for this review? Because today we're going to look at X-Men First Class. The answer is no, that's a horrible, lazy segue for a review. X-Men First Class is a fantastic film and it has received a lot of praise, which is deserved, but it is flawed and it is the weakest in the series, but that doesn't at all change the fact that it's excellent and that it is totally a wonderful film and it's still up to par with the other ones. The other ones just deserved even more praise. So please don't hate me. Handicapped, sick guy, puffy eyes. See him cute? Oh, they apparently set my car on fire. And my cat. And my house. Okay, so no sympathy there apparently. Okay, now don't see this as me criticizing the film or saying it is overrated. Even when I'm saying it is overrated. Nah, just kidding. I'm not criticizing it, and it isn't overrated. It is fantastic. I really love all the X-Men films immensely, and I simply love this one the least. And I do think it isn't better, and isn't as good as X-Men the last sorry, it's kind of daisy. And I don't think it is, and it isn't as good as X-Men Last Stand or X-Men Origins Wolverine. And do I forget something above my mouth? And I do think it is fairly inferior prequel to the X-Men Origins Wolverine. Okay. They say that I can finish the review and then, yeah. So how much does this coffin cost? $500. What a greedy bastard. Anywho, the film has some notable detractors and I will in fact try to defend the film from them. Meaning I will get hatred from both sides. I probably shouldn't be doing a review right now. I'm not in my best mood but I will be defending them for the most part. So stop trying to break in my door. The Blockbuster Buster only really mildly liked the film, and Film as Daniel liked it, but not immensely. I will once again be reviewing both of their reviews. With other words, I'm ready for war, and I'm gonna take all of you down with my... I'm really not in a good mood for reviews. I'm just gonna go ahead and go to the next take now. Let's look at the film's production. The film was created during the making of X2, and producer Laura Shulman discussed the idea of a prequel spin-off focusing on the older X-Men when young. Then the X-Men The Last Stand was created, and meanwhile also the work was started on a prequel spin-off called X-Men Origins Magneto and a prequel spin-off X-Men Origins Wolverine. And during the making of X-Men The Last Stand, the film was further developed, and Sackman, co-story writer of X2 and co-story writer and co-screenwriter of X-Men The Last Stand, was hired to write a script. However, this deal fell through as he thought Mike Champoy came up with a better script. And then producer Simon Kinberg read the comic series X-Men First Class and suggested it would be adapted for the prequel spin-off. He didn't want to follow the comics too closely, however, since they were not fresh enough in terms of storytelling and too similar to John Hughes movies and Twilight. Okay, that was really goofy, but could you avoid making a Twilight joke? Yeah, you probably could, but you forget that I'm seeing 6 times, actually. He and Laura Shulman both wanted characters with visuals and powers that had not been seen before and could work together as an ensemble even when they didn't work together in the comics. Originally, the idea was to greenlight the film based on the success of X-Men Origins Magneto, but eventually they went ahead with production before they produced that film. John Sports was hired to write the screenplay after denying the option of directing it. Fox approached Bryan Singer of X-Men and X2 to come back, and he did, and then wrote his own story treatment, and he and Jane Moss developed it into script. He decided not to use Sheldon Turner's script for X-Men Origins Magneto as inspiration, but the Writers Guild of America still credited Sheldon Turner, while the collaboration of Jamie Moss and John Swartz both went accredited. In addition to Jamie Moss, Ashley Edward, Miller, and Zack Stans were hired to rewrite the script. Bryan Singer dropped out as director because of his commitment to Jack the Giant Killer, and instead became producer. And the producers listed various directors as replacements, and at first didn't consider Matthew Vaughn as he considered to direct, but dropped out of X-Men Last Stand. And after seeing his satirical superhero work on Kick-Ass, however, they offered him to direct the film and reboot the series. Kind of odd. But Matthew Vaughn decided to direct the film and rewrote the script, but also decided to make it a reboot and an alternate story, yet at the same time make it a prequel and canon, making it a very identalist picture. A big mistake was made here. Bryan Singer's core work is kept, yet to get a different director who wants to add his own vision, which totally goes against the prequel concept, even though it was very an elaborate prequel and was made while other films were developed. That's gonna backfire in the continuity department big time, with a film not really standing well as its own story because it relies a lot on prior knowledge, but also just because it feels like it's part of a bigger story and you view it as such, and as such you want to hold it by prior rules. It's like Terminator Salvation. It just kind of feels like they want to have the cake and eat it too. However, the film also got an immensely high budget of $160 million. The film had 1,150 special visual effects shots done by 6 different companies who closely worked together with a tight production schedule and used lots of CGI effects, creating digital ocean ships, missile sets, digital stunt doubles and environments, but still used practical special visual effects, with having some real locations, staged explosions, real stuntmen with wires, and real explosions, and light special visual effects as reference points for Havok's superpowers. So the film had a great but flawed production. And now, as for how this came about, it might just have been the fact that I did a non-OCD's review. And I might just be a little bit more of a nerd than I thought. But probably not, I'm not that strange. Or it could have just been the fact that I'm actually trying to do X-Men First Class, a film that I think is great and not overrated, but think is less than Wolverine, and people will hate me for. Yes, I'm still not agreeing with Filmmaster Adam or the Blockbuster Buster, and I still actually think it's great, and not just okay like Confused Matthew. It's a little bit much. But, oh yeah. Or it could have been the fact that my Basilisk rebelled. Yes, they can actually rebel and bit me. And if you've seen Chamber of Secrets, yeah, I'm actually kind of happy to be in this state. So, the plot is really elaborate, epic, intense, mostly adding to the series and fleshed out, but inconsistent in parts with the previous films, and spends really a lot of time on setup. Magneto's powers are discovered by a fellow mutant in a concentration camp, and he wants him to move a coin, but when he doesn't have the power, he threatens to shoot his mother unless he moves the coin. When he's unable to, he actually shoots her, causing Magneto to develop strong superpowers by discovering his rage and his upsetness. This is really clever, showing mutants worked with the Nazis to explore other mutants. It makes sense, the Nazis have power over many people, allowing them access to a lot of mutants, and since they're despicable, they copy the Nazis' methods. They basically just have the exact same cost, just with a different set of variables. Instead of being pro-Aryan, they're pro-mutant. So that was actually very smart and three-dimensional, and also an original reveal. So then, as an adult, he uses control over Metal to threaten the banker to tell him where the mutant who abused him and his Nazi friends are, which makes sense as he has the power of Metal. This allows him to kill people and allows him to manipulate them. And it also made sense, and was very clever that they hurt Magneto's mother to hurt him, as indeed hurting someone's family can activate their anger. So then he goes to Argentina, where they are, and he uses his powers to kill 3 Nazis, which again is clever in his support of Obama, because he can clearly understand that the rights of animals are important for his ability to talk with them. Because I think that what was really great about Sky was the nostalgia critic's performance in it. You know, it was fittingly over the top for such a cameo, which again is clever as his control over Metal allows him to surprise them and take control over the weapons. And I'm gonna have to meditate, especially in this state. Hopefully this can actually help me find inner peace on finding a fresh Nazi joke. I'm actually surprised they went to Argentina. I mean, they don't belong there. Why don't they go to Chile? That is way more of a Catholic country. Yes. Meanwhile, the guy who killed Magneto's mother, along with the Hulk Fire Club, used their powers to intimidate an American army general to have missiles placed in Turkey to provoke the Soviet Union, which is again smart that they used their powers as a means of intimidating those in charge, and that's because nobody would believe them when they told them about the mutants. It would be very difficult for them to protect themselves against them, and they can very quickly appear and can really be intimidating strange people. And it's also very smart that they can that they use their powers for such a means, as it's very easy with teleporting and secret disguises to infiltrate and thereby have the humans destroy themselves, which makes for a very secretive and devious plot where you turn human aggression against itself, thereby making humans basically destroy themselves and do all the work for you. And the CIA agent disguised herself as a prostitute again, which is clever because it makes sense. If you act like a prostitute, you can seamlessly blend in a strip club. I know. And she discovers that they are mutants and asks Xavier about this, who is an expert on mutation. He decides to inform the CIA of his powers, and when he reads their minds, they think he's a traitor. So Mystique shapeshifts, showing them he's telling the truth, which is really smart. By shapeshifting, she shows that they are undeniably mutants. They then decide to allow Xavier to look at mutants to train and help them stop fellow mutants. And this is a clever setup to the original films. It's clever that Xavier tried to help other mutants because he first learned about them from the government. And so what an issue it was. This makes sense. By hearing the details from the government, he learns the importance of the issue because they know a lot about it, because they are so powerful, and he himself was oblivious to the problem for a while. He also started off naive, but as a professor could give advice on mutation, and so became involved. And he didn't seek out to be a mentor, he became one because he saw the world needed one. He saw people distrust the mutants, and as a principled person decided to help them. This was a very strong origin for him, and he then tries to help them, whereas the Hellfire Club and Magneto first tries to kill their leader, who killed his mother, but fails to do so due to the mutant powers of the group, which of course surprises him, as he didn't know they were mutants who were testing him, which is clever because it makes sense, because since they're expert mutants themselves, and he doesn't know this, they can surprise him, and also it's believable that they could escape, as they were prepared for contingencies like this, and Xavier tries to capture them, but they escape, and Magneto almost drowns trying to capture them, but Xavier saves him, convincing him he will die if he does this, but that he will help him. Okay, let's see. Here I inserted another brand on Protestants. So that article claimed that John Chrysostom would view Peter's confession as the rock, but it also calls the apostle the rock. They are intertwined, which is what Catholics believe. James Chrysostom believes it is just a confession, but it isn't. It is Jesus, the faith, and Peter. Okay, back to the review. Where was I? Hold on a moment. He convinces Magneto that there are mutants and that they need their help, and Magneto decides to join in because he feels compassion for fellow mutants. This was all very strong setup that gave believable motivations and origins to the characters, and then the main plot starts, which is really clever and even also epic and complex and very smart. The Hellfire Club wants to manipulate military leaders into starting a nuclear war, which kills humans, but since radiation caused a mutation, and therefore they are very adept to it and they have strong genes, that will only make them stronger. This is a really dramatic conflict. The nuclear war will destroy the entire world and end all hopes for a hero's cause, and it shows the mutants using our biggest weakness or openness for war against us, like in films like Terminator 2 and The Abyss. And then invisibility, the radiation, is clever because it makes sense, because if your body mutates from radiation, it might just not discreetly kill you. Cockroaches are immune to radiation to a strong degree, and now Xavier has to recruit mutants to stop them, and help mutants in a covered up plan, which creates double-layered conflict, as he now also has to grow as a leader, while at the same time he helps discover them, and it's very difficult to know where they are, as they are functioning all over the world. And Magneto wants to help find mutants and kill the man who killed his mother, making for double-layered motivation. But hold on, Why are Xavier and Magneto meeting only in the 20s? Everybody said that, and, well, I just cannot add anything. Xavier said in X-Men they met when Xavier was 17. So then he meets a CIA worker, Hal McCoy, turns out to be a mutant also, and he builds Cerebro for him, a machine that can amplify telekinetic rage, allowing him to send mutants anywhere.